everyone, welcome to the Dean's Report Live. I'm Dean Obeidallah, and this is the Dean Obeidallah Show. And who is there? You know her, you love her, award-winning journalist, Joy Reid. Of course, she has her own Substack, which is wildly popular, the Joy's House, and she has her show on YouTube, which I had the privilege of being on last week in the first week, called the Joy Reid Show on YouTube, which you should subscribe and check it out. Joy, great to see you, my friend.
It's always great to see you, Dean. Always a pleasure. And I know you think it's too hot, but, the Africans are for this.
The humidity? Look,
You're the
half
Africans
Palestinian
too.
and half Sicilian. And we're like, get inside, okay? This is not for us. I'm genetically bred to deal with tanning and stuff. But
Yes.
it's literally 96. My Apple Watch just is a skull and crossbones for the temperature. It's like, don't go outside. It's like, so, all right. So, Joy, let's talk about, the seriousness of what we're living through. Look, Donald Trump, I paid attention, and he said, no more wars. I'm going to end the Ukraine war in 24 hours. I'm going to end the Gaza war. He ended nothing, and he started a new one. Am I missing something here? Was there a fine print, an asterisk, something?
I don't know. And you look, and he's gone full W. Now he's like, regime change? It's like, wait a minute. The one thing I remember, I will never forget, you'll remember this, Dean, because you might have had him on one of your shows. A prominent Muslim activist in Dearborn, Michigan, appeared at a Trump rally and said, we, the Muslims, are voting for Trump because he is going to end all those wars in the Middle East and bring peace to the Palestinian people. He'll bring peace to Gaza. He said that on television. And I had so many people who would be in my Instagram comments saying, you just want to come along because you want to have more wars, and you're a neoliberal, and Trump will bring peace, and Trump will make sure there's no more wars. Because he did say he was going to end the dumb wars and not start any new ones. And surprise, surprise.
He lied. Well, look, it feeds his ego. I mean, this is a guy, when you take a step back, this aspiring dictator that he is, he's an aspiring tyrant. And I said it academically, that's true. Going to war and flexing military muscles is all part of the bravado. He had a military parade that didn't work well at all for him. That embarrassed him. So now he's like, we're going to just bomb things. Let's just bomb Iran. And look, that Muslim guy didn't speak for me or for most Muslims, I can tell you that.
No.
But the idea of ending the wars in the Middle East is appealing to people across a wide swath. Look what's interesting, I find, Joy, the MAGA people. There are some who really are sincere in their view that we should not be involved in war. And there are many of them I don't like as people. No. But they are right. They're like, he promises no wars. We want no more forever wars, as they call it. And he's beginning a new one right now. And you think there's a chance that chips away a little bit at his real coalition and his poll numbers?
I mean, it's a cult. So, right. I mean, the thing about it is I have a friend, unfortunately, who got involved in a cult. And I remember the day that the world was supposed to end. The cult leader that she was following. And she lived around the corner. So I went around the corner. Ding dong. I said, you still here, friend? She had a full and complete explanation for why we had not been obliterated, why the end of the world, which she was fully convinced was going to happen on a date certain, had not happened. The thing about cults is that information does not alter your belief. New information does not penetrate in order to change what you believe. And whether we like it or not, MAGA is a religion. It is not a secular political belief. It is a belief system. It is a religious belief. It is mainly followed and adhered to by right-wing, mainly white Christians. And they have decided that part of their cosmology is that Donald Trump is God on earth. He is God's messenger on earth. God put him in the White House for such times as these to make the United States into their version of a Christian nation, somehow by getting rid of all the immigrants. They believe it. And so nothing you say to them, you can read them Jesus's red letters in the Bible that say, love the immigrant. They will say you're lying. You can tell them their own children will be sent to Iran to fight and die for something Bibi Netanyahu wanted and not what they voted for. They will say you're a liar, you're woke, you are DEI. They will throw all the ad hominems out. I don't think he loses a single voter.
Wow.
I don't think anything can take them from him. But the reality is not all of his voters were MAGA cultists.
Right.
And that's what people have to remember. MAGA is maybe a third of the American population. They are dominionists. They believe the world is going to end, that Trump will bring about the end of the world. Bibi plays those people by talking end, world end. He speaks about religion, even though he's not religious. He uses that religious, dogma to get them to go along. No one in MAGA will leave MAGA unless they are deprogrammed. But not all of his voters were MAGA. A lot of them were people who just really paid barely any attention, didn't like Kamala, didn't like Megan Thee Stallion shaking her butt, and just were like, I'm going to vote because he's going to give me a check. Those light voters, the ones who were just like, I'm not in the religion, but I just didn't like the Democrats. I didn't like Biden. I didn't like Biden's Kamala. I didn't like his Gaza policy. I thought Kamala would follow it. If you were a light Trump voter, yeah, they're going to leave him. Those people.
But the cult, but let's look at it this way. The cult's got nowhere to go. It's not like they can join us. It's not like you can come over, hey, come on over. No, we're not going to forgive you that quickly. The other thing is regime change sounds appealing to me in America. Like if we could have that, I'm not sure if anyone's looking for regime change. But how about this? How about all male MAGA supporters, 18 to 35, are required by law to sign up to fight and die for Donald Trump in this war? I would like Democrats to say that. They'll never say that. But why not? If you want this guy so much, and you view him as a religious figure, which you're right, Joy, it is unbelievable. There are people who say he's God. I just saw a video before we started. People praying in tongues at the White House. Literally. And you're like, what's wrong with you people? If there's any supernatural being involved with Trump, it's not God. It's the devil. And the devil's like, you've done so much amazing work, Trump. You've been so much better. You can come home now. I think you know Jeffrey Epstein. Like, come on down. Here's your room.
It's Baalism. It's Baal. So if you're a student of the Bible, you'll know that the children of Israel, the sins supposedly that they committed was that they got impatient with the invisible God and decided they needed a God they could see. And so the people fell at the feet of Baal because it was a golden statue they could see. And they were like, I'm enough of this invisible God. I want one I can see. And Trump is the God they can see. And they don't believe you when you say Jesus loved the immigrant. They think that's woke bullshit. And that the real Jesus wants to destroy all immigrants, deport them to a prison in El Salvador, hurt them, harm them, and take their children from their breasts as they're breastfeeding. They like pain. It's a pain and death cult. And they like seeing people get hurt. They like seeing children cry. They like seeing people get deported. They enjoy it. It feeds them. It's like vampirism. And so trying to convert them is a waste of time. But I don't focus on them because I know they're a religion and I get that they believe in him and he is their God. What I focus on are the other ones, because there are people who, number one, people like Tucker were literally they'll say whatever it takes to make a buck. When they were at Fox, they said whatever Fox wanted them to say. Now that he's not, he realizes, the worm is turning. Let me say I'm not for the war. Those are, and what I'm watching is people like him because he's an entrepreneur. And when he was at Fox, the way to make a buck was to do whatever Trump wanted. Now in his independent guys, he's seeing the way things are turning with normal people. Not the crazies, but the regular people. And he says, let me go that way. And I'm watching people like him and Joe Rogan fall off of the bandwagon a little bit because they're like, that might be where the future money's at. So that tells me that Trumpism might not be a growth industry.
That's so well put, Joy. Because I've even some Democrats now, to be blunt, not a lot, but some who have sort of like some in Congress, John Fetterman, just the worst,
Jesus.
And some of the other like pundits or podcast people starting to shift and say, this is good about MAGA or not. And I'm like, you're being so short-sighted. This is not a good movement to be attached to.
No.
This is not. I can tell. I don't saying that because I'm a Democrat and a liberal. No. I'm saying it is a toxic, dangerous, anti-American, anti-democratic movement. And you don't really want to be associated with this because you're going to get a little bit bump in money, a few more subscribers. So I see some of that. One thing, though, I want to touch on the corporate media. And to be blunt, I don't watch as much corporate media as I used to. People are coming to independent media, going to watch your show, my thing, all that kind of stuff, which is important. But what I miss in the coverage of the Iran war is that they don't talk about in 2018, Trump and Netanyahu caused this. There was a deal to keep Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. I don't want Iran to get a nuclear weapon. My family's Palestinian. If they dropped a bomb on Israel, it not only kills Israelis, millions who are innocent people, it kills all the Palestinians. It kills him, my fiance's family is in Haifa. We don't want that at all. but there was a way to prevent it diplomatically. And what I find is the corporate media is like picking it up from here as opposed to going down here, where Netanyahu literally bragged in 2018, and it was on Israeli TV, and I shared the article. I was the one that convinced Donald Trump to get out of the Iran deal. You brought us to this point, the two of them together.
And also, what I don't see doing, we just interviewed Trita Parsi, and that's gonna
Great.
post up shortly. Yeah, we're gonna post that soon on the Joe Reid Show YouTube channel. And he made a really good point that I think the mainstream media are also missing. And even when they have him on, they don't ask. 3 questions. Number 1, who started this war? You see the coverage when you have generals on with their grit teeth things saying, then you're going to drop a bomb here, and then this
Right.
2,000 down does this damage, and then you're talking about the mechanics of dropping a bomb where there are humans. That's number 1. There's the lack of humanity. The casual way people talk about bombing people is scary to me. But they don't ask, well, I'm sorry, who started it? Bibi. Why are we in it? Nobody knows. We didn't have a conflict with Iran, and I would question some of your premise. You and I generally always agree. Prove to me, someone in media, that Iran had any intention of dropping a bomb on Israel. I see no proof of that. Even our 16 intelligence services said so, and even someone who I don't respect, but who is in charge of talking to all 16 administrations, one, Tulsi Gabbard, again, don't respect her, but
Right.
she's not giving her assessment. If she gives me her assessment, I will immediately ignore her because I do not respect her. But she went and asked all 16 of our intelligence services, and they, to an agency, said Iran is not trying to build a nuclear weapon, has no intention of dropping one on Israel. And the third question is, sorry, why can't they have a nuclear weapon? And I don't say that I'm saying I want them to, but here's the thing.
No, I understand.
Who gave the people who dropped a bomb on Nagasaki and Hiroshima the right to decide who gets to have nuclear weapons? Who said that the coalition of the willing, places like the United Kingdom, that threaten other countries with nuclear annihilation because they don't like their politics or their governments? Who said that we, the people who removed Mr. Mossadegh, the duly elected president of Iran, causing the revolution 20 years later that put the Ayatollah Khomeini in, which was our fault because the Dulles brothers, one at the CIA, one at the State Department, one of whom now has an airport named after him for being such a diabolical, evil man, had Patrice Lumumba killed in the Congo, had Allende killed in Chile, and put in a dictator, putting dictators in country after country after country, ruining the entire world because they don't think brown people have a right to sell the resources under their soil. They think we're supposed to control it. We wanted to control Iran's oil. We made them the country they are. Who the hell are we to say who should have a nuclear weapon and who shouldn't? India has a nuclear weapon. We didn't want to have it. And then Pakistan got one. You know why they're never going to go to war? Because they both have nukes.
Yeah.
Why should Israel be the only country in the Middle East that has nukes and can threaten to nuke every country around them, including Saudi Arabia, including Qatar, and including Iran? I don't like the Iranian government. I don't like the way they treat women. I don't like the way they treat their people. We have absolutely no moral authority to tell them they can't have a bomb, because if they had a nuke, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, I'm going to close it here. If they had a nuclear weapon, Israel would not bomb them. They want a nuke because an expansionist power that keeps taking territory it is not entitled to under the United Nations law keeps threatening to annihilate them. They want nukes, not because they're crazy Muslims. All the Muslims are crazy. They're not crazy. They looked at us and they looked at their neighbor and they said the only way to protect ourselves from those two bullies is to have nukes. And all that's going to happen, and Trita Parsi said this last night, and the mainstream media will not address this. They want nukes for a rational reason to protect themselves from Israel and from us. And all that we've done by attacking a country that did nothing to us is teach them that much like North Korea saw Nagasaki and Hiroshima in their neighborhood get nuked and then said, oh, no, oh, baby, we need a bomb. We're ensuring that if there's any way Iran can get a bomb, they gonna get one. And I don't blame them.
And Joy, I've had listeners call the show and ask, why can't Iran have a nuclear weapon? Like, well, because the powers that be have decided they can't be trusted. And and to give you some context, just yesterday, the Israeli military killed over 30 people, Palestinians in Gaza. That's more than all the Israelis killed in this war in 8 or 9 days in Israel. In one day, thousands have been slaughtered. Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal because he's charged for war crimes. And this was a violation of international law. The attacking Iran, there has to be, international law is clear, it's got to be imminent threat and no other option. Well, Trump was literally negotiating with them. They were going to meet on the Sunday, and there was no imminent threat of bombing. But he knew he can get away with it. International law means nothing when no one can enforce it, right? That's the reality. So no one's enforcing it. No one enforced it against what he did to the people of Palestine, the Palestinians in Gaza. So two last things, my friend, before I let you go. You talk to a lot of people on your show, and also you're at events. I see all the time traveling the country. Like when people are just talking to you about issues of concern to them in terms of the time of Trump, what are you hearing? Are there any issues that we're missing? Obviously, the big ones we all talk about. Anything out there that people are raising that we're not hearing and we're not covering?
I'll tell you today, the last couple of days, including my son, Jason, my youngest son lives in New York. People are scared because they know that that if Iran decides they want to really send a message, you know, the most iconic city in America is New York City. And New York City did not vote for Donald Trump. New York City despises Donald Trump. New York City knows him and hates him. And yet, New York would pay the price if they decided they wanted to do something spectacular. The most iconic cities in America. I once had a cab driver, a Uber driver in New Orleans say there are three iconic cities in America: San Francisco, New Orleans, and New York. Everything else is Cleveland. And I think that's unfair to Cleveland. But he said it, not me. But it is true that if you want to hit something iconic, Washington, D.C., New Orleans, the iconic cities that are all blue cities, none of which voted for Trump. I hate that it's blue cities that would pay the price if people decided they wanted to send them a spectacular message in the United States. Los Angeles, Chicago, all the iconic cities are blue. Name me an iconic red city. I can't. All the iconic cities are blue.
No.
And so that's the problem. And so people are scared that we're going to pay for his stupidity. Donald Trump did something moronic because according to Michael Wolff, he is a moron. He is an idiot savant, as he called him. And I love Cleveland too. But this is what this man said. But the reason he said it, by the way, is they're saying that in most cities they have that same mall that's got a Macy's at one end and a JCPenney's at the other. And all cities are built by the same set of contractors, and they kind of look alike, is what they're saying. But anyways, bottom line. And yes, Montgomery is iconic, but that's because of the Black people, and it's blue as well. Votes blue. And so I think one thing I'm hearing is people genuinely afraid that Iran, if they take revenge inside the United States, it's going to hurt blue people and it's going to kill people and people are going to die. I think the second thing that people are concerned about is the ways in which his stupidity and his moronic actions are making everything skyrocket in price. Oil is about to go through the roof. It's going to make, and when oil prices go up, food prices go up because food comes in trucks and trucks have to be filled with gas. And if he starts then an oil trade war, we could be back to where we were in the 70s. I think that he's about to wreck the economy. And that's the third thing I hear, that people are just really scared that by the time he's done, we're going to be in a recession, if not a depression, that even if they voted for Trump, people are really scared now. Not the cult ones. They don't care. They would go poor and starve for Trump. But the regular people, even if they voted for him, I think are afraid. I think they're afraid he's going to destroy this country. And then the last thing I hear, and I hear this a lot, the idea that kidnapping is now standard procedure in the United States, as if we live in Nazi Germany, I think scares people. I'm here in New York City today and this week where kids are afraid to go to school in the Bronx, in Brooklyn. This is a city full of immigrants. A lot of brown kids are terrified. They're afraid either they'll get taken or their parents will get taken. Even people who are citizens are scared. My family are all immigrants. They're afraid to travel outside the country. They're afraid they won't get back in and won't be able to see their kids. People are really scared because fascism is scary and people have a reason to be afraid.
Very true. But the No Kings protest did give so many of us inspiration. We got to keep fighting. The last minute here, you mentioned New York. Your son lives in New York. I'm in New York as well. We have the mayor race tomorrow, the last day of voting. I mean, we had like a bunch of early voting days. And what people can choose, I think there's a great field of candidates. I happen to be very progressive, so I like the more progressive ones. I thought there was great. There's one bad candidate. And that's Andrew Cuomo. And I say not because we disagree on policy, but because he sexually harassed so many women that he was forced out of being governor of New York. And Letitia James, who read from the report yesterday at an event, her report is looking at 11 women confirmed that he'd sexually harassed and retribution against him. And DOJ under Biden found 13 women sexually harassed, abused, and then he did retribution and he did horrible things. And now we have Democrats who just in 2021 called him to step down are now endorsing him openly.
Yeah.
And my question, because we both know this is wrong, don't you think that makes it harder for us or for Democrats to appeal to younger people and to show that we are different than the GOP? How is that different than lining up with Donald Trump when he abused 18 or 20 women?
That's right. That is the problem with these parties. And I'm not mad at Karine for saying she's kind of done, because the Democratic Party has proved itself to be weak, feckless, disunited, and incapable of leading us in this moment where we need leadership so badly. And it is the perception of weakness versus Trump's perception of strength and his ability to just do things and blow past the rules. It makes Democrats look weaker and weaker, and they're always responding with politics. The fact that they're endorsing him because he's a Democrat with a known name. Democrats love a self-funder and they love a person with a known name, and they will take that person over Jesus himself because they're all about politics. And the fact that, he's got the big donors, he's got the billionaires, the same billionaires who give Hochul money, if we're just going to be honest, she takes that big money too, the same PACs, including APAC and other PACs, whatever other PACs are giving him money. It's the same old, lining up to give the same old person power again because it's predictable. They know what they're going to get. They want their taxes to be low. They want deregulation, blah, 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 no better than Republicans. And I never say the parties are the same. Democrats aren't Nazis and fascists.
Right.
But they're also weaklings and they're politicians. And we need something better than that in this moment. And I was saying to someone else earlier today in another interview, New York City is like the woman who keeps meeting amazing men, but who keeps dating assholes. Only Dinkins, other than Dinkins, New York City loves electing an asshole mayor. And I don't know why that is. We need to date better.
I agree. Living here in New York, I couldn't agree with you. And look, Bloomberg is now the biggest funder of Andrew Cuomo.
Ugh,
$8 or $11 million. Bloomberg, as mayor, gave his stop and frisk, which charged Black and Latinos. He gave his Muslim profiling, where he profiled Muslims where we work, where we pray, where we went to school.
Jesus.
And Cuomo should have denounced him. Instead, he's excited to have him and others. George,
you know what we need, Dean? I gotta say, let's you and me get together. The Democrats need a Tea Party movement. The Democrats need a Tea Party movement. The only thing that will save this party is a Tea Party movement. I would encourage people in New York, where you guys have the Working Families Party, sign up for that joint. Scare the hell out of a Democrat. Sign up for the Working Families Party. They're not like the Green Party, which is the cicada party, where that lady Jill Stein pops up every 4 years to make sure Republicans get elected. She's a cicada. Don't sign up for that. The Working Families works in a really fascinating way. They force you to get both endorsements. They say if you want if you want to win in New York, you have to get Working Families and the Democratic endorsement. I'm about to sign up in Maryland, because what we need is to send a message to this party: lead or leave.
Right.
Lead or retire. We don't care about your relationships, how long you go back with the Cuomo family, which person's turn it is. We don't care. We need leadership, or you need to move aside and let the real people do it. Jasmine's ready. AOC's ready. There are people who are willing to do it. Ayanna Pressley, good and ready. Summer Lee, all the way ready. Let the people willing leave. Lead or leave.
And I say step up or step aside. Same idea. So Joy, people should check out
Maxwell
Joy's
Frost. Maxwell Frost is awesome. Yes. Sorry.
Here's the thing. Both of us could name, and everyone watching can name and listening can name the same handful of fighters. The problem is there's only a handful of fighters. That's the problem. The Democratic Party, because we'll all name the same people. Yeah. But there's about almost 300 Democrats in the House and the Senate. All together, there's like 220 and about 260, 270. Why don't the same 10 or 12 people who are doing all the fighting? Where are the rest? So, Joy, please tell me about your great show on YouTube. I was so honored to be on last week on your show on your first show. Where can people check it out?
I loved having you on. You are one of my favorite guests, all the time, and you're my buddy, so I appreciate you
Thank you.
coming on. It was an honor to have you on the first week of the show. The show is called The Joy Reid Show. We make it real simple. It's thejoyreidshow.com, REID. So go to thejoyreidshow.com. You can subscribe for free on YouTube. You can also subscribe for free to my Substack, which is joyandreid.com. That's where I do my writing and where I do fun lives like this one. And we also, for those who are paid subscribers, we actually do show notes. So every show, we're going to give you the background. If you want to follow my work, see the research that I use to build each show, we put that in show notes after every show so that I'm fully transparent. I'm going to tell you exactly where I got the information I'm giving you.
Joy, thanks so much. Congratulations on this show. Thanks for being on. Love you. Thanks for everyone who
Love you,
tuned in.
friend.
We really appreciate it. Talk to you soon. Inshallah. God willing, talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.